about the same thing in the you know move free more because I understand that there is a post that you made that I have cited myself, and you were raising a bit of issue, and let me put it that way, with regards to a forensic investigation, I bit me identify say when all the way in South Africa. Is there anything wrong with it?
Nothing wrong. There's nothing entirely wrong about it. Many nations all over the world, all nations have specialized techniques and technical abilities and expertise. And Ghana, yeah, police before, they have also been of help to other nations all over the world.
Mm.
And in say, when you are in distress and answer only emergencies, all nations that have that technical abilities, they come to your aid, particularly in terms of crime, in terms of fire outbreak, in terms of disaster, all manner of nations. Now, the way I suspect you who are it is even good, sir. The DNA and the other related forensics were done in South Africa. It gives us two advantages. One, it helps us to safeguard the processes. Then number two, it helps us to achieve homogeneous integrity of the outcome far beyond reasonable doubt. And it's an investigation results in bar. Nobody can doubt it. Say if I win idea way, if I win idea, yeah, and to me, me there. Even though I subscribe to the fact that Ghana must get many of the things Ghana would need, you do not get everything at all times. And you have various types of expertise and technical abilities. And there was nothing wrong with it. Now, your crime scene department of the Ghana Police Service. Oh my, Juma be bria, not just for people in Africa, but across the globe. The people come here all the time, and when you look at their results, everywhere you send it, you get the same results. So probably a lack of ignorance and answer, lack of education, and man, be can say, then they've taken the bodies to South Africa. There's nothing entirely wrong about it, Mina.
There are people who are raising concerns with the national security breaches and all of that. So if, for example, facilities, it will help safeguard and protect the integrity of the forensic test or South Africa. No? Do you buy that argument? Say, look, it's gotten to a point in time. I was seeing a national facility of a sort.
No, I don't. If we have all facilities, I agree. America don't have all the facilities. Australia don't have all the facilities. Britain don't have it. Russia don't have it. All countries and their level of facilities they have. Meaning, in the case of COVID, the buyer, and yet China produce face masks. Now, but say we have developed countries. And to some extent, people even say China is not a developed country. So that is the way it works. In terms of your national security, say you can't about national security, it comes in various forms. Yet the body is near corner. Say your police report a lead here. Yes. And so that is also part of your national security interest. Say the police must be there to protect your national security interest. And to the point I'm making is that I would have loved we have all the labs with almost everything here. But there's nothing entirely wrong about it. Say you're the best called different other countries. Now, South Africa has a history of mass burial and many of those things. And then when you are talking about earthquake and you are looking at resolving it, you are likely to go to Japan. When you are looking at nuclear power, you are likely to go to Russia. When you are likely to look for some other technical abilities, you are likely to go to Burkina Faso or Cote d'Ivoire or Nigeria. After all, Yoko na yeseti up no say Nigeria war EFCC. And how na your benchmark here? And so there are various things we learn from one another as nations. So yes, I agree that we need, as a matter of fact, we need to have many of the things we will need. But meaning on authority, there's nothing wrong to send the bodies to South Africa. For me, it will help us to achieve the integrity of the process. Then it also help us to achieve homogeneous as part of safeguarding the integrity of whatever has been done. So that when the results come out, nobody will doubt us in any way.
Yantuan Komodo, so it's exactly a week near and nuanomo and watry a free mo. Dear Aquaswa in terms of say and Shishimu crater beto Jan and Sanine from the Ashanti Regional Coordinating Council. Say and one moment copy the scene as sources and ye may be edico fee, one more dia so more de beba. Any investigations here yeka ehho asemi nyina no. What is your assessment of the actions taken by state security number 1 in say yes safeguarding and niema ema sa we nyina ekobaye and conducting a transparent investigations into what perhaps might have caused the accident no is here no. What will be your assessment?
As a nation, your level of preparedness to manage national disaster and national emergencies is not just poor, but it is bad and it lacks merit. And it's only a known fact. Mijidi say after all this is said and done, you better share your preparedness towards managing crime, managing national disaster, managing national crisis of the magnitude we are talking about. But Minia, from day 1 to where we are now, I can tell you for a fact, say frontline investigators, no, from all the investigative agencies, they have about 70 to 80% of the results, and they can tell decision makers, this is exactly what happened, this is likely to change, and this is likely to remain. Now, the degree to where they to change, they will be able to predict. So this is the way it works. For the first 3 days, first one, they considered all the facts, including the communications, whether people on the jet call some people. They look at all that. They look at the timelines. They look at the topography. They look at the flight route. They look at whatever happened. Then the second thing, they also, so all the facts were considered. Then all the factual positions were also analyzed. So from day 3 coming to day 4, day 5 to where we are, what they will do is they will examine all the core components which is aligned to this particular investigation and answer this particular crash. And what are the components? The human bodies, the recording devices, any other thing that has something to do with the crash, they will look at it. Almost fast examination now, they take it through what we call an investigation procedure. So investigation procedure, they will use manual, they will use scientific means, and they will use quantitative and qualitative approach. Results as against the first day, second day, third day, the factual positions and all the facts being considered. Now, results. And it is a results in now there were some discrepancies. Benchmarking regional and international best practices. Then you go back to the field and check. And it is true, sir. Initially, there are issues in terms of the crime scene. But Ghana police in the crime scene department. When they get to the crime scene, they have the ability to reconstruct the crime scene. And when you reconstruct the crime scene, it helps you to collaborate whatever investigative procedure you have taken the core elements to. And to both the South African, it was not just for DNA, but it was also for other related forensic analysis, which would then help you to collaborate whatever you are getting at the crime scene. And that is where we are now. And we did pass by Friday, National Day of the Phone. About 70 to 80% of the results they've gotten so far.
So we should not be looking at a month later and saying a bit report.
Of course, the black box has to be sent to the manufacturer. And as a manufacturer, and could take some little time. But it's coming out, said there were telephone communications. The investigators will be aware. We are talking about the recorders, the recording between the two pilots and the flight data recorder. All those things will be considered. They are core elements to the crash and to the investigation. And together with the human bodies, we call them objects of investigation interest. And that is where we are. And decision makers will know, I'm very, very sure and confident that investigators and decision makers will know about 70 to 80% of whatever has happened, what is likely to change, and what is likely to remain the same. Even as at today, even before Friday, they will get this result. So it's just left with just about 20% to close the books and normally the final results, nama decision makers, then we'll take it from there.
Then it meant the Ashanti Regional Coordinating Council cracked on the Betuja say one some of the part of the helicopter almost sako fie one fambra and they were calling say ebe mo muskana and no hiasa.
No, that's what I was telling you. Say we didn't do well with the crime scene, but we should not be worried because Ghana Police Service has the ability to reconstruct the crime scene. Now you do not need all the body parts to be able to reconstruct the crime scene. Because you do crime scene now, we are looking at investigative procedure outcomes. Any nyamana SCC or crime scene or no. So we are just benchmarking results, and you do not need all the body parts. Even though it is important, say minimum for lack of education, but you do not need all of them to be able to come out with an investigative outcome, which is perfectly right and which serves the objective of the investigation.
You mentioned, sir, when it comes to our preparedness for national emergencies and disasters, you said that a bomb.
What? Yeah, bad, poor, and a lacks merit.
What has gone wrong? Is it that the National Disaster Management Organization in the Jumedia would and said that Tias or you're under resource to really perform its work?
I don't think we have a plan. There's no plan. Your plan can only say crashes such as this, fire for the first agency I saw leading. Now say fire for man to helicopter mom. I want to say sometimes fire in Greater Accra yet mean vacuum for number of boy. Okay. And she said no it's agency and it's a cooperation arrangements and she said choppers, you will be Ashanti goes. And I will be so many other places. So if it is choppers you need, you can have those arrangements in advance and practice and rehearse them. It doesn't mean say nipa babe by here say you rehearse them and practice them before the day of calamity or trouble. So we also know say it's not all outcomes of investigations that lead to prosecutions. Some investigations lead to reformations. Some investigations lead to institutional change. Some investigation leads to decision adjustment. Some investigations lead to new initiatives and new paradigm shift. And some investigations will lead to internal control evaluations. And some of these outcome of these investigations, of course, some could lead to punitive and disciplinary action. And of course, where there are criminal intended purposes, prosecutions could be pursued as an option. It means that as outcome of this investigation, Mijidi said, it will be one of the things we need to look at, our national disaster management issues, not just an admiral who provide oil and rice and mattress to people when they are overtaken by a flood. But this is a national disaster of a higher level, and you need a higher plan, a higher equipment, a higher preparedness, a coordinated effort to be able to deal with it as quickly as possible.
We need a new strategy?
Definitely, yes. We don't even have one.